Ever get that rush of pure amazement when you stumble upon an incredible nugget of information that's not just fascinating but also incredibly fun? You know, the kind of fact that makes you excited to share it with everyone you know because it's just that mind-blowing? In the pages that follow, we'll uncover the kind of information that makes you stop and say, "Wow, I didn't know that." These aren't just regular facts, they're the kind that's super fun to know. Get ready to be amazed by some of the oddest facts you've ever heard. 1. Cats can be allergic to humans. Believe it or not, just like people can be allergic to cats, it's indeed possible for cats to have allergies to humans. It's not as common or well documented as human allergies to cats, but it's a fascinating aspect of the complex world of allergies. Cats can exhibit allergic reactions to humans, primarily to the proteins found in human skin cells, saliva, and even human hair. These proteins can trigger a cat's immune system, leading to symptoms similar to what humans experience in response to allergens. It's interesting to note that while this condition might not be widespread or widely discussed, it emphasizes the diverse nature of allergies. Cats, just like humans, can have unique immune responses to various allergens, including those originating from humans themselves. 2. Bananas are berries, but strawberries are not. This seemingly paradoxical statement highlights the intriguing world of botanical classification and how common fruits can sometimes defy our intuitive understanding of what constitutes a berry. In botanical terms, a berry is a fleshy fruit produced from the ovary of a single flower with seeds embedded in the flesh. When you apply this definition to bananas, they indeed fit the criteria. Bananas develop from the ovaries of their flowers and contain numerous seeds, albeit very tiny and not easily visible. However, these seeds are often vestigial and do not play a significant role in the propagation of the banana plant. This is why we often think of bananas as seedless. On the other hand, strawberries, which we commonly refer to as berries in everyday language, do not meet the botanical definition of a true berry. Instead, they are considered aggregate fruits. A strawberry forms from a single flower, but the seeds are not embedded in the fleshy part of the fruit. Instead, they are on the surface of the fruit, giving strawberries their characteristic texture. Botanically speaking, strawberries are not true berries because the seeds are not enclosed in the fleshy pulp. 3. The shortest war in history. The shortest war in recorded history is known as the Anglo-Zanzibar War, which occurred on August 27, 1896. This brief conflict between the British Empire and the Sultanate of Zanzibar holds the distinction of lasting for less than 40 minutes, making it a remarkable and often remembered event in the annals of military history. The root of the conflict can be traced to a succession dispute within the Sultanate of Zanzibar following the death of Sultan Hamad bin Thuwaini. His successor, Sultan Khalid bin Barghash, who had taken the throne without British approval, was seen as a threat to British interests in the region. The British Empire had strong economic and political influence in Zanzibar, and they favored a different candidate, Sultan Hamad bin Mohammed. In response to Sultan Khalid's defiance, the British government issued an ultimatum to him, demanding his abdication and the installation of Sultan Hamad as the rightful ruler. The ultimatum stated that Khalid must step down by 9 a.m. on August 27, 1896, and warned of severe consequences if he failed to comply. Sultan Khalid, however, refused to back down, and at the appointed time, his forces opened fire on the British consulate in Zanzibar, initiating the conflict. In response, the British launched an immediate naval bombardment of the Sultan's palace and military positions. 3 British warships, the HMS St. George, HMS Raccoon, and HMS Philomel, rained down heavy artillery fire on the Sultan's forces. The short and intense shelling quickly overwhelmed the Sultan's defenses, and the palace, including its supporting artillery, was reduced to rubble. By 9:40 a.m., just 38 minutes after the British bombardment began, Sultan Khalid's forces surrendered, effectively ending the war. The war's brevity and the sheer imbalance of power have made it a fascinating historical anecdote, often cited as the shortest war in recorded history. 4. The Eiffel Tower gets taller in summer. The Eiffel Tower, an iconic symbol of Paris and a marvel of modern engineering, is a fascinating structure that undergoes subtle changes with the seasons. One intriguing phenomenon associated with the Eiffel Tower is the perception that it gets taller in the summer, even though its actual height remains constant. This optical illusion occurs due to a combination of factors, making the Eiffel Tower appear taller during the warmer months. In the summer, the Parisian climate experiences higher temperatures. As the temperature rises, the air molecules become less dense, leading to a phenomenon called thermal expansion. This expansion causes the air to become less compact, creating a lower refractive index. Light travels more slowly through the less dense, warm air, which makes the Eiffel Tower appear taller than it actually is. This effect is similar to how a straw appears bent when placed in a glass of water due to differences in the refractive index between air and water. 5. The world's largest desert is in Sahara. The notion that the largest desert in the world isn't the Sahara may come as a surprise to many, as the Sahara Desert is often the first one that comes to mind when thinking about vast and arid landscapes. However, the distinction of the largest desert in the world doesn't actually go to the Sahara. It belongs to a less conspicuous contender, the Antarctic Desert. The Antarctic Desert is, without a doubt, the world's largest desert by area. Covering an immense expanse of approximately 14 million square kilometers, 5.4 million square miles, it dwarfs the Sahara Desert's land area, which measures around 9.2 million square kilometers. Despite its ice-covered terrain and frigid climate, the Antarctic Desert meets the scientific criteria for a desert. It experiences extremely low levels of precipitation. One might wonder how a place with such cold temperatures and abundant ice can qualify as a desert. The defining characteristic of a desert is its arid nature, meaning it receives minimal annual precipitation. The Antarctic Desert fits this definition perfectly, as it receives an average of only 166 millimeters, 6.5 inches, of precipitation per year. This precipitation mainly comes in the form of snow, which accumulates over time, forming thick ice sheets. The Antarctic Desert's immense size and the fact that it is often overlooked in discussions about deserts around the world emphasize the importance of considering the definition of a desert beyond just its hot and sandy connotations. 6. The world's largest snowflake. While it's hard to definitively measure the size of a single snowflake due to their delicate nature, historical records and anecdotal evidence tell of some remarkably large snowflakes. The largest reliably recorded snowflakes fell during a snowstorm in Fort Keogh, Montana, in 1887. Witnesses reported snowflakes as wide as 15 inches, which is truly extraordinary considering the average snowflake is only a few millimeters in size. Snowflakes form when water vapor in the atmosphere condenses into ice crystals around tiny particles, like dust or pollen, high up in the clouds. As these crystals grow and accumulate more water vapor, they develop their iconic intricate shapes and patterns. The conditions during the Fort Keogh snowstorm were just right for these massive snowflakes to form, likely a combination of high humidity and just the right temperature for the large, elaborate crystals to develop. While these records are awe-inspiring, it's important to note that large snowflakes are exceptionally rare. Most snowflakes are much smaller, typically ranging from a few millimeters to a centimeter or so in size. 7. Spiciness is not a taste. Spiciness is often described as a taste, but in the world of sensory perception and flavor science, it is essential to recognize that spiciness is not technically a taste. Instead, spiciness is a sensation or a feeling that we experience when we consume certain compounds found in spicy foods, such as chili peppers. Taste, as commonly understood, refers to the 5 basic taste qualities detected by our taste buds: sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and umami. These tastes are attributed to specific taste receptors on the tongue that are sensitive to particular chemical compounds. In contrast, spiciness is a different sensory experience. It is primarily driven by the activation of pain receptors rather than taste receptors. The sensation of spiciness is caused by the presence of compounds called capsaicinoids, with capsaicin being the most well-known one. This burning sensation is not a taste in the traditional sense because it is not based on the detection of specific chemical compounds that correspond to a taste receptor. Instead, it's a response to the irritation and inflammation caused by capsaicinoids. This is why spiciness is often described as a heat or burning sensation rather than a taste. 8. Just room enough island. This unique and intriguing island is located in the Thousand Islands region of the St. Lawrence River, near the town of Alexandria Bay. Just Room Enough Island is famous for its petite size and its unusual name, which perfectly describes its limited land area. In fact, it's one of the smallest inhabited islands in the Thousand Islands archipelago, which consists of over 1,800 islands. The island is owned privately, and it's quite literally just big enough to accommodate a single house and a few surrounding trees. This house, which is the only structure on the island, occupies nearly the entire land area. Its strategic location leaves just enough space around its edges to allow a small garden to grow, giving the island a cozy, picturesque appearance. The house itself is a quaint and compact dwelling, providing a unique living experience for its occupants. 9. Guy Fawkes is the reason guys are called guys. The term guy is commonly used today to refer to a man, person, or fellow, and is often used informally. However, the origin of this word is rather unexpected. The word guy actually traces its roots back to a man named Guy Fawkes, who lived in England in the early 17th century. Guy Fawkes was a member of a group of Catholic conspirators known as the Gunpowder Plot, who attempted to assassinate King James I by blowing up the Houses of Parliament in 1605. The plan, which involved placing barrels of gunpowder in the cellar beneath the House of Lords, was discovered, and Guy Fawkes was arrested while guarding the explosives. In the years following the failed plot, effigies of Guy Fawkes, known as guys, were traditionally burned on November 5 in England to celebrate the foiling of the plot and to commemorate the event. The term guy eventually evolved to refer to any man, and it later came to be used more broadly to refer to any person, regardless of gender. 10. February used to be the last month of the year. February used to be the last month of the year in the ancient Roman calendar. This historical fact sheds light on the fascinating evolution of our modern calendar system and how it has changed over the centuries. The Roman calendar, known as the Roman Republican calendar, or Roman calendar, originally consisted of only 10 months, starting with March and ending with December. This 10-month calendar was established during the reign of Romulus, the legendary founder of Rome. The months were named Martius, March, Aprilis, April, Maius, May, Junius, June, Quintilis, July, Sextilis, August, September, October, November, and December. February, as we know it today, was not part of this original Roman calendar. Instead, the calendar had a gap of about 60 days during the harsh winter season, from the end of December to the beginning of March. This gap was eventually filled when the second king of Rome, Numa Pompilius, introduced the months of January and February to align the Roman calendar with the lunar year. February, which was named after the Latin term februum, meaning purification, was added as the last month of the year. It consisted of 28 days, with an occasional intercalary month of 27 days added every 2 years to account for the difference between the lunar and solar years. With the addition of January and February, the Roman calendar transitioned from a 10-month calendar to a 12-month one, with the new year now beginning in January, as it does in our modern Gregorian calendar. However, February remained the final month of the Roman year until the Julian calendar reforms initiated by Julius Caesar in 45 BCE, which further adjusted the calendar system and introduced the leap year system. Thanks for watching, and please share these facts with someone you know.